Sleeping Juice. Sleeping Juice.
This is Mike in the Minifans. Mike is talking
Is this video on here?
Just the bot.
Here we are. What's going on, everybody? Mike and the Minifans, and intern Justin is back. That's what everyone was tuning in for, right? Make sure. I never thought I would be so happy.
Oh, this
to
is
see my guy, intern, for multiple reasons. To see my guy Justin back with us and manning the board here and doing great work. You know, I criticize the guy a lot, but sometimes when you see the darkness that could be, you realize what you had in front of you the entire time. And that's how I feel about intern Justin right now. So I'm glad he's back, and a lot to get to. Obviously, I went to Red Sox winter weekend last night, and I guess I'm kind of curious to find out if people think that the video I put out was good enough to keep me from a beating on Monday, or if I deserve the Steve Robinson treatment. I'm a little nervous about that, but some things happen, and it is what it is. It's my fault, but thank God I had a backup plan, and we got a little bit of footage. It's not what I wanted, but we'll get into that as the show goes on. But first, let me tell you. Well, we've got a great lineup tonight. I want to tell you about a big, very supportive sponsor of Mike and the Minifans.
The People
and
versus
that is
Rich Kelleher?
The People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign. Back with us again. Thank you so much for sponsoring. And here's the thing about the People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign is there's nothing you have to do other than think to yourself, boy, am I sick of attention whores and assholes who need you to focus on them so desperately that they'll say anything, even things they don't mean, to try and get back in the limelight. And if you feel that way, then join the People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign. There's no website, no fees, no, you don't have to give any of your information away. It's just a feeling you have in your heart to say, fuck Rich Kelleher. I was actually asked moments ago if douchebag was one word. A question I never thought I would have to answer in my life, really, but that's the kind of thing when you get when you work with people like People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign that you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen there. You never know what you're going to get, but these are good guys working for a good cause. So make sure you join them in the fight to keep the likes of Rich Kelleher away from us. So that's the toughest read because there's nothing you can do to support it. It's just a feeling you have in your hearts. So try and let the people know because they are a big sponsor of Mike and the Minifans, and that is not a joke. Someone actually pays me for that. All right. I think we've got a great lineup tonight. Bring them in. Maybe they'll criticize me for the horrible video quality, or maybe they'll say I did a good enough job. I don't know. We'll see. I'm fucking miserable about it. I don't think a good enough job was done, and that's on me. Because really the thing is, guys, as you all come in, I'll introduce you in a moment. But the thing is, there's only so many times I can point the finger and be like, well, this intern fucked up, or this person fucked up. Eventually, I got to say it's my fault. I'm not preparing people properly, or maybe I'm not saying maybe I'm not making it clear what I want. I don't know. But eventually, you got to stop blaming people. You got to think that it's me that's fucking up, because why else would it keep happening? So another abysmal failure in my mind. But we've got the gang to tell us whether I'm right or wrong. We've got Andy Mayo, a regular. The other Rich Mandarin, no underscore, just Rich Mandarin, who was live at the scene of the crime last night. We've got Latino Kirk.
$15 gives me a picture. Adam the Jew,
Didi, who was a big star on Thursday show. We called a lot of people, and other than Dave, the old man that didn't care for us, I think Didi was one of the standout stars from that program. So, how's everyone doing? I guess I'll start with Andy and kind of go around
get on that, all right?
Do we look at the video I put out as good enough, or is it kind of a bummer for people that there wasn't actual video and it was really just audio?
Well, the video I saw was of you. You could see your face. It was like the Blair Witch, looking up shot. So I thought it was hilarious. I don't necessarily need multiple angles of that. So my question to you, Mike, is part of why you're kicking yourself, because there's a lot of stuff that happened that would have been great to get that we haven't seen? Because what I saw, I liked, but maybe there's a ton of great stuff.
So I think what we lost with no video is the context. We lost the look of the faces on the owner. Like the owners and Sam Kennedy were visibly pissed. The people around me were fucking furious. And just to see me getting dragged out by security would have been very funny.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we lost all of that, and we kind of lost. I mean, I guess you can hear it a little bit, but I think the camera and the microphone we had and everything would have picked it up a little better. Would have picked up the fury of the people around us. Like you kind of heard people saying like, "Oh, if you're not a fan, get out of here." I think that would have been magnified a little better if we had better sound quality and a better visual on the people around us. But
she told me a real fan.
What's that?
When you say you lost it, what happened to it? Did you guys not turn on the camera? Did the battery die? Did they take it away from you?
No, it's completely on us. And I don't know if I want to. I kind of want to tell Kirk on Monday, just because I think it's so sitcomish and ridiculous what happened. And like I said, I'm not. I don't want. I don't know. I'm torn about it because I don't want. What I'm feeling is pure fury, and what I want to do is go on a fucking tirade against the particular moron. But I got to stop blaming other people. I think and say this is my fault. Like in some way, because Justin did the same thing where he kind of fucked up with what I wanted. Eventually, I got to say it's my fault. I'm not directing these guys correctly. But yeah, we just don't have. So the one thing I will defend is the reason I wasn't live on Twitter, and we were supposed to be live on Instagram, but I was also going to be live on Twitter. The reason that didn't happen is because we had zero internet connection. The internet connection fucking sucked. I don't know if it's because of the arena, like there was no internet, or just the sheer amount of people, like the amount of cell phones in there. I don't know, but we could not connect. I could not connect to the internet. I was told that this is where we were on Instagram Live, and I was even told a specific amount of people that were in the room, so I don't know what the fuck happened with that, but that's one thing I will defend. And I gotta say, intern Will did one thing terrific.
This was before.
By making.
This is when I said one in the monologue. I think so. Oh, which one is this now?
It's time for my Geary show.
Now this is the best one. Now this is the one. But this one you kind of need the video because I want to see BAC's thumbs up.
Mike was told to come up with something, and I guess this is what he did. We should give him some points for trying. Kirk wants to know what the point of this is. Just a warning for all you guys. You'll never get this hour back in your life. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. This is.
You're good.
Oh boy, it's always something. Even when I'm feeling good about Justin, there's always a little something. The people hearing me now, at least. I never know. He doesn't tell me. Can they hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I doubt it, but we'll see. Hello. There's no better way to start than with some technical difficulties. What's going on, everybody? Mike and the Minifans, the last one of the year. Crazy. What a year of memory it's been. A crazy time in the world of the Minifans, and I appreciate all of you joining me for these crazy few weeks. And tonight we've got to look back at the last 5 weeks of excellent shows. No, we're doing a real Mike and the Minifans this week. But first, let me tell you about my friends at Broken T Virtual Golf in beautiful Lakeville, Massachusetts. TheBrokenT.com, that's T-E-E, is a place. The nice thing about this place is it's kind of for anyone, in the sense that if you want to just go fuck around, hit a few golf balls, play on 40 world-famous courses, then you can go down there and do that. Or if you want to work on your game, get some help from a PGA professional like my friend and Minifan, Mark Kitchen, You can go down there and do that as well. Enjoy their selection of craft beers. Gift certificate season probably over, but I mean, if you want to pick something up, someone's got a birthday coming up, whatever, or you want lessons from the aforementioned Mark Kitchen, PGA Pro, then drop the name Mike and the Minifans. Or in general, if you want to go there, hang out, whatever, just say you listen to the show because it helps us out. It helps Broken T Virtual Golf out as well. And it allows us to do, like, it allows me to pay Justin and all that type of shit. It allows me to pay Justin to do mediocre work. And who doesn't want to support stuff like that? So support my guys at thebrokent.com. Broken T Virtual Golf in Lakeville, Massachusetts. Thebrokent.com. And check them out and tell them Mike and the Minifans sent you.
John, it's
what's going on, boys? So we've got regular Matt from Providence, my guy.
It's back up.
Essentially the unofficial co-host of the show, more or less. He's on pretty much every week. And two newbies. We've got Andrew and a guy known as Blind Advocate, who has been very eager to get on the show. I would say very eager. And he tells me, I like this. I like the guy that advertises himself as a controversial figure. Really building himself up into a character. He tells me he's this wild guy in the Discord and everyone hates him. So we'll get to that, I guess. But first I've got to hate him. Do they hate him? I feel like Matt hates this guy.
I don't hate him. I disagree with him. Yeah. But the Discord hates him.
Really?
Oh, I've been monitoring all day, and it's not good. Bad day for Blind Advocate.
We'll get to that in a minute. First, I want to see what you guys think about this, because it's something that's I've been toiling over. I've been at odds with this for about a day now. So Portnoy went after me about a month ago. Everyone remembers that. It was very funny. I looked like a bitch, some would say. I stood my ground, others would say. But regardless, he yelled and screamed at me, said he hated me. And I never really understood why. I didn't get where that came from. And then when Big Cat was on, Big Cat and Kirk kind of explained it to me in a way that I understood a little more. And then something happened with Justin yesterday that made me kind of feel like I understood what Portnoy was saying a little more. So let me lay it out for you boys. I guess MHB has been doing this thing where he's digging up old tweets of Greg Hills. Have you guys followed this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll get to that and what my thoughts about that in a second. But Justin tweeted something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing here, but something to the effect of, I don't think it represents what the show is about to be digging up people's old tweets and going after them. And when I saw that, my immediate reaction was, I agree with him. My immediate reaction was, shut the fuck up, you fucking intern. Why does anyone care what you say? And then I realized, wait a minute, I was a fucking intern that would spout off about people, and maybe that's why Portnoy got picked. So when I see that and I want to tell, my instinct is to tell Justin to shut the fuck up, because that might annoy Kirk if he thinks he's speaking for the show or whatever. Am I being kind of a hypocrite in that sense?
I mean, look at Mike. Like look at Mike seeing the truth.
Expected you to earn your bones before you went shitting on people, which I kind of understand, but that's what you do. That's why you're here. You're here to go after people and kind of placate the Kirk. So
this was his show, dude. This show was only good when he was
on. So do you understand what I'm saying, where I look at Justin tweeting that shit, and my immediate reaction is, just shut the fuck up. Why do you have to give your opinions? And then I kind of realize I'm the guy that says, no one should have to shut the fuck up. Everyone should be able to give their opinion. So who am I to tell him not to talk?
Yeah, it might have a little bit to do with the fact that it's MHB who he's calling out, someone who kind of has been around for a while and, has a history of doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and MHB's my guy a little bit, as much as I'm annoyed with him right now because he seems to dislike me for some unknown reason. But he is my guy. We did a lot of podcasts together and things. Now, I would say MHB is also wrong in responding to Justin and saying, who are you to talk shit? Because then you could say, who's MHB to talk shit? Who's anyone to talk shit?
Who's MHB to talk shit? Who's the guy that's taking leaves for, mental health and shit? Then he comes back, he jumps back in. He expects everybody to, suck his dick. And if they don't suck his dick, he gets really pissy about it and he leaves. It's listen, he shouldn't be telling anybody to, shut the fuck up and keep to themselves. I think that's ridiculous. To hear from that guy, I wouldn't take that if I was Justin.
Yeah, I like MHB a lot. We got along good when we were on this show together. But, I think he's got to have something going on because the way he's in and out, it almost seems like manic episodes every couple of days. And it's a bit worrisome.
Yeah, my guy, last week, I don't know if you could tell watching, but I was kind of getting to the point where I almost didn't want to mention MHB's name anymore because I feel like maybe I'm talking about him too much, whatever. But I've got a soft spot for the guy because I consider him a friend in a weird way. I've only met him face to face once. But I would consider him a friend. We did a lot of podcasts together and everything. So he doesn't.
So, can I take you through the
please,
MHB
blind advocate. Go ahead.
Discord timeline?
Sure.
The floor is yours.
Yeah. All right. I will fucking do that. All right. So
I'm already seeing my
MHB. MHB is like let's say 7-10 days ago, whatever the fuck, right? So he's a cunt, right? So it's like 20% of Discord like him, 80% don't. So then MHB is like, oh, hey, guys, let me talk to you. You know, I'm sorry. I've gone through some medical anguish, right? So everyone starts like being like, all right, MHB, I got your back. You know, I feel bad, you know, this and that. Now, the redheaded cunt comes in and it's like, oh, man, you know what? You're like a big brother to me. You know, let's do a podcast together. You know, I look up to you. So everyone in the fucking Discord accepts this fucking douchebag's apology. All I say is, let's wait 3 or 4 days. Let's see what happens.
Well, that's what would get me. If I was you guys, I mean, that's what would get me. The fact that he will come to you behind the scenes and send you all these messages like, I'm sorry, you're my friend, blah, 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 blah. And he just comes at you with this sympathy card that tries to make you feel bad for him. And then on Twitter and all this other shit, on all these other apps, he's talking a bunch of shit, like calling you out. Yeah, that would piss me off. Like, I mean, if I was you guys, definitely, that would anger me.
Yeah,
that's my only real problem with MHB is that it seems like almost there's two versions of him. And he tries to play it off like, hey, it's just a character online. This is what Kirk does. And the thing is, it's not what Kirk does. There are giant differences in what MHB tries to do and what Kirk does. And
can I continue the story?
I fucking hate this guy already. Jesus Christ. Hey, Discord, you're 100% right on this asshole. No, it's Mike Minifans. There's one blind guy.
I'm your advocate. I'm your advocate. So I'm telling a fucking story.
You got a huge fucking head. It looks like those headphones are about to snap in half.
Well, it's a dialogue here. You don't get to. You don't get to. I know people call it Mike in the monologue. It's not blind advocate.
Oh, it's Mike in the monologue.
So that is my problem with MHB is that there's two versions of him, and then when he says I'm going to take a break, I think in his mind a break is like staying off of Twitter for 4 hours instead of maybe 4 weeks, which might be a little better for him. But now go ahead and finish your fucking scintillating story, blind advocate.
I was just telling a fucking story. That's all.
Go ahead.
All right. So fucking MHB comes in, right? Fucking bitches and cries and moans, and everyone's like, all right, MHB, I got you back. Right. And so Keller, Ginger Cunt comes in.
Yeah, don't say his name on this podcast either, by the way.
I know. I hear you. The
you
Ginger
really
Cunt comes in.
I've taken a turn. I'll tell you why I've taken a turn. Here's why I like. I'm sorry to interrupt this fascinating story, but
he never gets to tell this story.
It wasn't going places.
The reason I still like MHB and not the other guy is because I have a relationship with MHB. So even when MHB wants to criticize me and shit on me, at least he knows me a little bit, and we kind of understand each other. What I hate about the other redheaded asshole is that how much shit did I take for defending the guy and saying he's a nice guy and all this, and at every fucking turn he blames me. I get screenshots, and I don't go in the Discord or anything, but people send me screenshots of him shitting on me and saying that it's my fault that I won't have him on this show, and I'm being a pussy because I won't have him on here, and my show sucks, and he should start his own competing show, which would be fucking great, by the way. I encourage him to do that. But that's what I hate is that's much more two-faced. I mean, that's much more two-faced than what MHB does. MHB kind of goes off and walks it back. The other guy, I'm so fucking nice to, and I defended him. I tried to defend him forever, and then he just fucking shits on you at every turn because he needs attention.
And
I have way more respect for MHB.
Oh, of course. Yeah. How could you not?
I mean, the other guy.
If you're gonna have a fucking breakdown where you're working, then go to the fucking bathroom and fucking grab a fucking tampon, shove it up your ass, and shut the fuck up.
Wow.
I don't know what you're talking.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
Well,
Who would
listen,
break
if
down?
anyone, if anyone knows how quick this whole group can turn
I feel like
on you,
I
it's me right now.
before the
Last
show.
week, I thought all these Minifans were my people, and they fucking turned on my ass so quick when I made that joke. People were, screenshotting Kirk, saying, kick this guy the fuck out, and I can understand how that can mess with somebody's head. I was going insane for about a day and a half.
Yeah, you had a little bit of a breakdown as well. All of a sudden,
I laughed at your tweet.
You're
resigning
All right. So Steve basically pushed me to resign, trying to speak for Kirk.
I don't understand that. That's Steve's taking a lot of liberties there.
Steve's got his hands so deep in this thing you wouldn't believe it. I've got a list of points that I need to get to about why he's affected the outcome of that election. Don't even get me started right now.
Tampering. His people are known for tampering.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't make sense. He claims that I lost by 28 points, but after 1,000 votes, Trotline Nixon had the exit polls within like 1% of each other for me and Patrick. How do I lose 27%?
Trotline Nixon.
I thought Patrick runs the voting and shit.
You election motherfucker. Fucking, are you serious?
Oh, here we go. Another guy who can't take the fucking joke.
Election, dude. No one
the
cares.
guy I love. The guy who cries in the Discord. He's nuts. You know how hammered this guy is? He's been posting his fucking Jack and Coke since 3 p.m.
I was gonna say, is he shit-faced or is he just
I think he's shit-faced.
Shit-faced.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
He looks like kind of your fat twin, Mike.
You want to talk about the election?
my twin.
Let's not talk about fat guys, right?
So blind advocate. Before you go, actually go off on Matt if you like. What do you hate about him?
I'm just saying, dude, you're a fucking Hillary Clinton fucking pussy. You lost the election. You fucking claim bullshit. Go back to writing your fucking parody bullshit Sesame Street fucking songs.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Wow,
He was the guy who made the prank calls. He's the one who made the prank calls. He didn't do the parody songs. He did the prank calls. He was great at it. He's not a parody song guy. What the fuck, man? Keep up.
So what, blind advocate? What I'm saying, what's your big? First of all, is the name blind advocate? Does that have anything to do with me, or do you actually help blind people?
Actually, Mike, I think you're the most talented person besides Kirk on the show.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, there's 3 of them. There's only 3 of them.
Thank you very much.
I mean,
is that
Steve
a backhanded
has
compliment?
No, Steve has a ceiling. You're the real talent, and it's going to show. You're going to progress. You're going to evolve. You're going to get better and better. Like, to use an MHB thing, I think the comparison to you and Big Jim Murray is that he's Bill Parcells and you're Belichick.
You know, this guy's making a lot of sense. I like the cut of his jib. Yeah, he's a good guy. You know what? Have another John Daniels on me, man.
Yeah.
You know what?
His head turned when he started kissing your ass.
I gotta say, nothing against you, Mike. He's comparing you and Steve's talent levels. Steve's talent is in a completely different arena than yours is.
Of course, yeah.
He's a fucking producer.
But I feel like we have just scratched the surface of how fucking insane Steve's life is. This guy keeps giving us more and more every single day that people are digging up on him. Yeah. And I mean, Mike, your mom's hot. That was like a big thing from your life that kind of made its way into the show. Then your grandma got sick, and that's another thing. But in 5 months or 7 months since you guys have been doing this, Steve must have given us 20 different insane scenarios to pick at about his life. And it's just, in a way, I feel like almost driving the show.
I keep thinking it's made up because every day or every week comes out with something absolutely ridiculous, and I keep thinking it's a work because there's no way someone can be this fucking insane and lie about this much shit and have nothing, and it all ends up like coming back on it. I mean, it's incredible to listen to, but sometimes I'm like, there's no way.
It can't be made up, and here's why. Because I don't know if there's another show in America that would pick up on the things Steve does. Like, whether it's the hot dog contest or the tennis match or whatever the fuck. I don't know if there's another show in America that would hear the little aunts versus ants. I mean, little things like that. Other shows, like Kirk has an ability to pick up on that shit and then make 40 minutes out of it, or maybe 2 weeks out of it, whatever the time period is. But
listening to aunts versus ants.
I mean, every word that comes out of Steve's mouth that would give a foreigner a tough time, he mispronounces it every single time. And it's to the point where, like, Mike, you would know if he was doing it on purpose, would you not? And
yes,
I don't think so, he is. Like the Berkshires and Mallory.
Maori Povich. And
he even said something the other day right before break where I just scratched my head and I was like, all right, he's just fucking with people now. And you and Kirk are picking up on it.
Aunts versus ants, re-listening to that was just like he just puts you in like this vortex of like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? And then eventually like comes back around where you can kind of understand what he's saying. But Aunts versus ants, re-listening to that again was interesting. Yeah, I mean, he's fucking crazy.
He's very, very, very smart, but he thinks that he's smarter than he is. He's smarter than probably anyone in this room right now that we're in. But he thinks
what an achievement that is. To go up with the intellectual likes of us.
No, he thinks he's on a completely other level than he actually is, and it kind of gives him this arrogance that when it plays against him, when he gets something wrong, it just makes it that much funnier to laugh at.
That's funny. And
when he gets back into a corner,
I didn't listen to the entire best of. I listened to bits and pieces, and one of the things I heard was the Kirk and Steve fight. And it's interesting to listen to a guy because in there, Kirk says to me, Mike, remember this moment, meaning this is kind of a make or break moment. And I honestly think that was, and I might have said it in the little intro we did, but I think it was a great moment for Steve in the sense you look back at that and say, this is a guy that wasn't willing to talk about his parents or whatever. Now it seems like, I mean, nothing crazy personal has come up, but he's willing to talk about it. Like we talk about his life almost daily on the show. It seems like he's given us a lot.
And crazy personal stuff has come up though. I mean, his sister-in-law and all that. I mean, he's been away. And he didn't have to give us that.
I thought Kirk was correct to think what might happen after that there might be more things that pop up. At the time, I thought Kirk was right. But, I mean, it's clear, like you guys just said, it's been proven to be wrong. Steve will pretty much talk about anything. So, I mean, Steve ended up kind of winning that one, for being honest.
And it's also, you got to look at it, he's coming from, I don't think Steve knew what he was getting into right off the bat. I think now that
was like the first week, right?
It maybe the second week, yeah.
And he wasn't really big on Kirk when Kirk was at EEI, was he? He kind of wasn't that familiar with his style.
I think Steve started listening regularly, or I don't know how regularly, but I know he got more into Kirk with the Kevin Cullen, Boston Globe stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say he was crazy familiar with the show. Oh, please, enlighten me.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, all right. So, anyways, Kirk makes talent out of no talent. Ken, Curtis, fucking Steve.
The backhanded shot at Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
No. Mike is the fucking talent.
You're damn right, baby. Keep going.
He is the talent. He's
Bring
gonna
it home.
evolve. In my opinion, he's gonna keep going. All right. So fucking all these people that Kirk props up, that's their ceiling. Mike has an unlimited ceiling. He's going to keep getting better and better.
Now, tell me this, though. Does it worry you at all that Mike's been doing radio for how long, Mike, now?
I mean, radio? I haven't really even done...
I mean, the college radio, the podcasting.
Oh, well, if you're... Okay, so back to that. Like, since I've been doing podcasting and college radio, that's been 7 years, I guess.
And I would say, I mean, I've listened to some stuff. I would say that you were kind of stagnant most of that time, but being with Kirk, it's kind of brought you out of your shell, so to speak.
Oh, for sure.
You're kind of starting to take off now, I believe. I enjoy listening to you. I mean, if Kirk wasn't around, would I listen? Sure. Would I enjoy it as much? Probably not. But I think you're starting to pull your own.
Oof,
well, thank you, boys. But anyways,
I mean, why Mike's Advocate thinks you're like fucking Artie Lang. I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy loves you.
Listen, the guy makes a lot of cogent points. I've always said that about Blind Advocate. I don't understand why people in the Discord hate him. It doesn't make any sense.
What are you pointing at?
I'm pointing at the closet. All right, so listen.
Oh boy.
So like, if we're like, if we're comparing, right? So it's Big Jim Murray, right? Potentially, and it's Mike. Those are the closest comparisons.
Comparisons.
Mike is going.
What are we comparing them to?
You know who's trying to FaceTime me right now?
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Blind Mike is going to keep evolving. Steve has a ceiling.
Leave me, Kelleher.
Mike's ceiling is exponential.
The guy's right. I'll let him say it as many times as you want, even if it's completely incoherent and has nothing to do with the conversation. I'll allow him to say. I'll allow him to keep saying it. What did you guys think of the best of? I know I voiced I voiced a complaint with it the other night because I think things have been getting a little too chummy around here. Everyone's been a little too nice to each other around the holidays. And B, I may have had a few wobbly pops under my belt. But I did have one issue with it. Other than that, I thought it was fine. But I thought we had said, and in fact, it was Steve's idea to put prank calls and parody songs between each segment. And I even said before we recorded the intros, I said, so like for this segment where the first time we talk about the hot dog contest, I was like, here's where you would put in like Steve's a liar, right? And he was like, yeah, exactly. So I don't know why he didn't do that. I think that would have made it a little better. But other than that, I thought it was good. Is there anything you guys think was missing or no?
I mean, kind of exactly on what you said when I was listening to it. And this might just be me because it was like my small contributions. But you guys did the whole thing about Ben Albright. And I thought the Ben Albright prank phone call would have been a perfect drop right after that segment. Something like that. You know what I mean?
That's what I thought as much as we could, we would make it kind of tie in. Like there's nothing that directly relates to it, but I thought it would have been funny if like Patrick's prank call to the men's room went right before one of the bad radio like War of the Roses or something like that, like a bad radio segment. Shit like that I would have liked. But other than that, I think we kind of hit all the major points of the year. Although a lot of people are saying, so I saw my guy KMS Polls had a poll up about what was better, the one me and Steve recorded or DEC's. I think they're kind of not comparable because DEC did a great job of going through kind of the entire year, like back to the intercom shit. So it's
totally not comparable.
Not at all.
I mean, those two. I mean, no. I mean, you're going through a year and a half with Kirk where he had like the most tumultuous time in his career, and you're grabbing all of those different things. Yeah, I think that's totally different than going through the first 6 months of your guys' show and trying to figure out the best parts. Of course, that one was probably going to have a little bit of a leg up.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as your guys went, maybe some of the segments ran a little long, or Steve could have maybe gone in there and cut small snippets out in between to shorten them up. Because
no, I wouldn't have shortened it up at all because I like the fact that it was 7.5 hours.
I do like that, but I think maybe some stuff might have got missed potentially with leaving full segments in. Like I had not being in work this week, I had a hard time even getting all the way through it. And there were some things that I heard that I was just like, okay, like, could have maybe gone without 5 minutes of that talk there or And then the no bumpers in there. I saw someone tweet it that maybe there should have been some bumpers in between.
It got a little confusing because I know there was one where it literally ends with me and there's a segment that ends with me and Steve talking, and then it starts with me and Steve introing the next. So yeah, got a little. That's where the prank calls and parody songs would have been good. But other than that, Steve did a good job with it. I don't think there's anything else.
I don't know how
really.
I don't know how no parody songs get in there. I mean, that's one of I think the funniest parts so far of the show. No parody songs was kind of a weird omission to me. I mean, is it because most of them made fun of Steve and that he didn't want to put him in there?
Interesting.
I'm just asking the question.
I mean, it would make sense.
Asking the question.
He is very self-serving.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point, gentlemen. Also, were there any prank calls or no? I didn't get all the way to the end.
I didn't listen to the last half hour. I still have like a half hour to go. I probably won't end up listening to it, but
yeah, that's
I've heard people saying
if there's no prank calls, no parody songs. That's a big absence.
I mean, big time.
I saw some tweets that said, how could he do this without putting any in? So I'd have to assume there was none. But there was one segment, and I hate to keep hopping back to it, and I know you guys don't want to give him any sort of promo at all, and I get it. But the Kirk Minahan gets the you-know-who experience.
That was
a great
one
of the most captivating hours of audio I've ever listened to in my life.
With Cullinan, when Cullinan was in?
Yes.
That was very good. I totally agree.
I almost suggested it, and then I didn't, just because I said.
I mean, I understand why it's not in there, but I mean,
it probably should have been. It was fascinating. Like
other than Steve going at Kirk, I mean Kirk going at Steve.
Yeah,
that was probably one of the most tense moments you guys have had in studio.
Mike, that is one of your funniest parts. That is one of your funniest parts when you asked him, "Do you see Steve from Providence in the room right now?" that
was a great one, and I thought about mentioning it, like, because I gave Steve a bunch that I thought should be in there, and I left that off just because I said this guy's been such a fucking pain in the ass that why give him any attention? Maybe that's wrong of me. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but I don't know.
I kind of agree with that.
I think that. Can I talk?
Please do. Instead of asking, you can talk. Just talk.
All right. So So DEC fucking crushed the year in review.
Yeah.
Because he brought it up to the original listeners, the original fucking whatever the fuck. It was good. So your shit was not so good.
Can we get this guy a bump or something? Jesus Christ.
You just fucking did a sound of a show and just let it play for a half hour. Like, how fucking lazy is that? Like, if I would do your show, kind of, not really, but if I would rather have you fucking comment on DEC's year in review, so at least we could hear your fucking opinion. We don't need this fucking clutter, bro. We all fucking listen to it.
All right, nobody knows what he's talking about.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Anyway,
man, I know you said.
I think he might be leading to an interesting idea I had, is that the next time we do a best of, which I imagine won't be for a while, but the next time, say Kurt goes on vacation for a week like we did over the summer, where we kind of have to pre-record a few episodes, maybe the Friday show of that week, or, maybe the 4th of July, you could do a 6-month review or something like that. Whatever it is, the next time there's a best of type of week, maybe let DEC do his, not week in review, but at that time it might be 6 months in review or whatever it is. Let him do it as an episode of the Kirk Minahan show. I think that could be an interesting idea.
That's a good idea.
You think Steve would You think Steve would let
that go for the?
I don't know if Steve would let that go.
See, well, here's the thing. Steve talked about if we're going to put out a best of anyways.
Yeah.
That's still a best of. You know what I mean?
Who cares who produces it?
Exactly. It's still listening to our voices. It gives DEC a little credit for the work he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it'd have to be something that's worked out. Maybe Barstool wouldn't want it because he's not an employee. I have no idea. But just kind of spitballing and throwing shit like out there.
I don't think Barstool. I don't think Barstool really gives a shit what you guys do. So I feel like they'd be all right with it.
Where do you stand on this? So I saw Gaz retweeted the best of episode and said, if you're wanting to jump in but you're nervous because it's so long, here's your chance to get refreshed.
Yeah.
I think that the best of that was put out. If I didn't know anything about the show, I would have had a really hard time getting into that. I feel.
You think so?
Yeah.
So that's my. Yeah, I have a big question about that. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We know it, so we know how funny all the stuff going on is. Yeah. But coming in dry, I almost feel like it should have included, even though it's kind of, repetitive, Kirk's whole why he's here, why he left, why he's fighting the fight he's fighting, and just kind of a little bit of a background for that new listener.
I think we as a group, and I mean like the Minifans, I'm including myself in that. I think we all kind of worry to go ahead, buddy.
All right, so DEC crushed it, of course. He crushed it.
Right.
But let's be real about DEC and his presidency. He's a fucking glorified secretary.
Okay,
well, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, man, it's pretty much a made up position. I think you fucking nailed it.
It's almost like he barely did. He's a pencil pusher, really. It's almost like he doesn't do anything. Yeah.
He's a glorified secretary. He doesn't do anything. He just fucking writes notes in the fucking corner.
What would you like him to do?
Well,
What would you
he
like
does
him
the
to do?
Minifan show. He does.
I've always called
He
him
does the
he's the
Minifan show. I
do-nothing
mean,
president. He doesn't do enough in his term. What was I about to say? I was about to make just a solid point here, and I was derailed.
You
What
keep
were we
getting
talking about?
interrupted. I have no idea.
What were we
fucking
talk-
blind advocate.
Motherfucker. What was
it
I just
about-
saying?
Justin,
what was I
have
just
no
saying?
clue.
Hey, I'm going into great.
No, you shut up. You shut up. You stop.
I know, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Hey, it couldn't have been that interesting because no one remembers. What is this drunk doing?
I don't know. Maybe time to boot him.
Yeah, no. Let's not boot him.
No, I think he's interesting.
I want to get into this whole.
I'm laughing. I mean, it's pretty
Greg
funny.
Hill dick sucking thing.
I think for his best, because he said he didn't want people in the Discord to hate him. After this,
Oh yeah, they're gonna hate him. So why do people hate you in the Discord, Blind Adam?
Yeah, can we get to this? I have no idea either.
It's pretty simple. Greg Hill posted last night that he felt like he did a good thing at his job, right? So he posted, "Hey, motherfuckers, I did something good at my job." And then what MHB and these fucking clowns on Discord said was like, "Oh, no, you didn't, you stupid fuck. Let me Google 10 years worth of Twitter."
Yeah, the fucking Colts did a good job when they made the AFC Championship. They didn't have to put up a fucking banner for it. What are we even talking about?
I agree with that.
The guy came in second place out of 2 sports stations, and he's acting like he just took over the fucking world. It's a joke. And you know what? You want to talk about the tweets? Fuck going after the tweets. Everybody knows that the second Kirk and the Minifans jump on somebody's shit, it becomes toxic and nobody will touch it. That's the joke. That's why it seems like you haven't been paying attention and why we're in on the joke and you're not. We know the second that we go low, everyone's going to ignore it, which is why we do it, because we're pointing out the hypocrites. And one thing Kirk always talks about is consistency. And we're pointing out the inconsistencies in the opponent.
And I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you, Matt, when it's a real...
Wow.
What a world. Someone gets a Google 10 years worth of fucking tweets.
Well, you tell me this.
Fuck yourself.
You tell me this. Do you think it's fucking weird that a 44-year-old man, even be 8 years ago, is tweeting out pictures of Miley Cyrus naked in the Miss Bum Bum competitions? Like, it's different if somebody, you go back 9 years on their tweets and they were 17, even 21. People are stupid when they're kids. This guy was 45 years old tweeting like a 14-year-old. You know what?
I don't give a shit about that, because you can look at how many guys that work at Barstool could you look at and say the same exact thing. But here's my problem. Here's my problem with going through old tweets is that Greg Hill is not a guy that has gone after Kirk and said, "Fuck this guy. Look at what he said in the past." Anything like that.
He's not really an enemy.
He's thrown several veiled shots on air that you guys have played on the show.
Yes, he has.
But if you're gonna get angry at that and you're a fan of the Kirk Minahan show, I don't know what we're even fucking talking about.
Would fucking eat his lunch.
Well, also, but you gotta say, when Kirk was off air, Greg Hill in the Entercom building, which is, I don't know if you could say it's a ballsy thing to do, because I'm sure he got permission to do it, but he had Kirk on his show. It was only for one segment, which I remember being very weird. But he had Kirk on. He did Kirk's podcast. He's not a guy that has really shit on Kirk. I don't like the idea of going through his old tweets.
He's not a real enemy. He's not a real enemy. That's why I'm not a big fan of going through this guy's tweets. Like, he's not a real enemy, like a Murchison or someone like that. That's the only reason why with Greg Hill, I'm kind of like, eh.
I've come around to Kirk's way of thinking in the sense of this. If Greg Hill got fired tomorrow from Entercom because of old tweets, I would say, well, that's what you get when you work for a place like Entercom. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be sorrowful for him. I wouldn't cry for the guy, because if you're going to work at a place like that, that's kind of what you got to do. And as much as I say Greg Hill had Kirk on his show, if Greg Hill really gave a fuck about free speech and worries about his old tweets and shit like that, then what he should have done is said, hey, the guys I'm replacing, Kirk Minahan and Jerry Callahan, got fucked over. So, you know what I mean? Like, he maybe not in so many words, but say, I respect what those guys did. This is going to be a very different show. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. If you like it, we hope you stay on board.
Not mentioning it is so weird. That's such a weird radio thing. Like, not to mention at all. It's so bizarre. It's just radio. They just stuff it in the fucking closet. They move on. And moving on from a show that was that popular and not talking about it at all and keeping the same fucking producers is so weird to me. And it's EEI all over, but I totally agree. It's just such a bizarre
not just the same producers. To keep the same producers and say, and still here, the real KNC, Ken and Curtis. It's like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're making these veiled references to the old show. Just fucking acknowledge the guy. Now, that's where I don't have a lot of sympathy for Greg Hill. But Greg Hill, I mean, guys, if we're gonna go after Greg Hill in again, I was part of the Fitzy bit. You know what I mean? I understand that my role was to say, hey, come on, he's a good guy, he's funny. But I get what we were doing. You know what I mean? Like, I understand what that bit was. It was to point out the complete hypocrisy of Entercom and the Globe and everyone involved there. But if you're serious,
you were funny on that, Mike. I thought you were funny.
Thank you. But if you're seriously going through Greg Hill's tweets and saying, look, he said this vaguely sexual thing 10 years ago, then that's fucked up. Because you could do that with anyone. You could do it with me if you wanted to. You could do it with Kirk. You could do it with Steve. You could do it with anyone on this show right now, I'm sure. So
not me. I deleted all my old tweets. Got those things the fuck out of there a couple of years ago.
Good boy.
No, thank you.
But you cannot be a fan. As much as I know the joke is that Barstool's gotten soft, and there's some truth to that, whatever. But you can't be a fan of a show on Barstool Sports and then dig through people's old tweets.
All his tweets.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you can find shit 10 times worse if you start digging into everyone else,
But do you think there's any difference between when they do it and when we do it, because we do it knowing that it's not going to have a result?
Yes, of course. Although, I'll say this, and I want to talk to R.A. Minahan about this. I do like the idea. I don't know if he's the one that found that picture, if he's just the first person I saw that posted it. I like when it's someone that calls other people out. Like when it's Trenny who's going after these military vets or West Point students. When it's something like that, and you're a complete hypocrite and you've done stuff in the past, then it's all out. You know what I mean? If you want to dig through Shirley Leung's tweets or fucking Jezebel writer or whoever, then go for it.
Everybody knows that picture of Trenny was completely innocent, but that's part of the. Oh shit! You see that cat? Oh my god! Everybody knows that it was bullshit, and we were just calling out her hypocrisy because, I mean, you say one thing, you do another, and you don't expect the same result on both sides. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And,
so that's when I'm cool with it. When you're called out a Trenny for something like she did, that's totally fine. For stuff like that, but it's just like Trenny going after those West Point students, I thought was a fucking joke. If you're doing it in that sense, go after old tweets, find some stupid picture of her holding up the fucking OK symbol. But Greg Hill is kind of just sitting there doing some shit show on EEI, like digging up tweets about him. Granted, the Miley Cyrus stuff was fucking bizarre, but it's just kind of very weird. I'll agree on that. She was like 18 at the time too. It's like, dude, you're like fucking 50. What is wrong with you?
Well, what's weird about Greg Hill, right? Like, is he does a show. I mean, he used to do a show that I think was supposed to be almost like a knockoff Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony type of a thing, where he was kind of supposed to be an edgy guy. He did. So I worked. I don't know how many people know this that listen. When I worked for Entercom, I was on the street team. So I had to do all these shitty events that shows for all the different stations we put on. And one of them was, and they did this up until, I think I was there last year. They did an event called Bikini. That was a bikini contest in billionaire Ernie Bach Jr.'s pool house. And doing it, and they basically just trot women in bathing suits out and grade them and comment on their bodies and shit. And I mean, it's innocent enough. Like, I don't think they were doing anything over the line, quote unquote. But I was kind of like, how do they get away with this? And Kirk and Jerry talk about the show Transparent, and it's the end of the fucking world.
Yeah, I've heard some weird stories through the grapevine about him too. That, like, people that I know who have friends who are friends with him, just weird parties and crazy outings, and just he definitely gets into some some pretty wild shit, I would think. I mean, that bikini thing is a perfect example.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fine. It's not. I mean, it's pretty much PG-13 rated, more or less. But it just seems weird to me that in this day and age, that would be allowed. That you're essentially just grading women on their looks, which I don't have a problem with, honestly. If people want to enter that willingly, go for it. But it's weird to have that, and then criticize Kirk and Jerry or any other show for words that they say. It just seems bizarre.
I mean, we all know what the reason probably is because both of those guys lean right politically. I guess that's one of the bigger reasons why.
Greg Hill leans right politically too.
I just think you lean that way in Massachusetts. Yeah, if you lean that way in Massachusetts and you're on the public airways like that, they're gonna come after you for fucking anything they can. I mean, it's a joke, but it kind of is what it is.
Blind Advocate, you've asked a few times this week. I'm going to give you the floor now because you sent me a list of things you want to get. Now I'm starting to put the picture together a little more. It's tough when you're just DMing with someone because you don't get their full personality. But I found it a little bizarre. Blind Advocate sent me a list of things he might want to talk about, which I always appreciate. If you're new to the show and you have things you want to get out, of course. But this is one thing I like too. Is like people were commenting in the chat that I don't have people on that disagree with me. And then I invited those people on, and they said no, they couldn't do it. So it's just always how it fucking happens. But Blind Advocate had a lot of things he wanted to get to. The first one, number one on the list, the show. He wanted to get to the Kirk Minahan show. I was like, yeah, I think we may touch on that a bit.
We get to it at some point.
Blind Advocate, what did you want to get to? Anything we didn't touch on yet?
I mean, not to fucking kiss ass. I mean, Kirk Minahan is the #1 talent in the USA, and I fucking just think that you are a superior talent. I think Steve is a fucking not a superior talent to Kirk, but you're a superior talent to Steve. This shit is just a fucking fad, bro.
Keep going.
Give the fucking
all right,
ceiling.
enough ball walking. Come on.
Shut the fuck up.
No, but seriously, but I have one thing that I want to say before we get off the EEI. That, like, you know,
I do. Go ahead, Matt.
I am talking.
What a fucking hypocrite Lucy Burgess writing that fucking article about Walter McCarty and his unwelcome conduct at Evansville College. Whatever. That's gotta be a fucking troll job.
Excuse me, I don't frequent the WEI blog.
Well, I just saw it getting shared around on Twitter, and I guess
Don't talk about Walter McCarty somewhere else, you fucking punk. All right, I'm talking about Chris Minahan show. You want to talk about Walter? Are you fucking ignorant?
No, I don't want to talk about Walter McCarty.
We're all following along. We know exactly what you're talking about.
Christopher Curtis having an inappropriate workplace relationship and zero consequences coming from such.
What the fuck is this?
I want to keep this guy on for the second half.
I think you might have to.
I might be shooting him and Arego at it a little bit.
Walter McCarty?
I mean, I'm kind of a dud. This guy is killing it.
I don't know the story, man.
She just put out. I guess Evansville is doing an investigation into Walter McCarty for some kind of sexual misconduct on campus. Yeah. And of all people at WEI to write that article today or yesterday.
Matt.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Do it. It's
that's the most bizarre thing. So I have a few buddies left at Entercom. I mean, lower level people, of course.
Yeah,
but
shut up.
From what I've heard, there's not even like gossip in the hallways about the Lucy Curtis thing. Like it doesn't get talked about, which is baffling to me.
Like if I were a low-level producer there, I'd be fucking livid.
What's the guy?
Because you know she's taking jobs away from other people. They took her back in like a week. What other place of employment's going to do that unless you're some stellar employee or you're stuck in the boss's dick?
It's weird. And here's the thing: is I like Lucy. I know Kirk said on the show, like you're kind of dealing with 2 zeros as far as talent. I think if Lucy was honest, 100% honest, she could be interesting. Like my problem with her has always been, I'm sure I've said this. I'm repeating myself for the 10 millionth time. But when I had her on my old podcast, Trash Talk, when it was with WEI, I made a joke about someone in the building. It might have been Greg Hill's old partner, Mike Shue, who's a very nice guy. And I mentioned him for whatever reason. I said, probably the only nice guy in this building. Or the only guy I like in this building or something like that. And Lucy says, oh, no, there are a lot of nice people in this building.
She come back and tweet that.
And I'm like, first of all, I'm being an asshole on purpose. But also, we're on a show here. Like, you can fucking joke around and it'll be fun. You know what I mean? Like, I think her instinct is to kind of kiss the right people's asses. When I know she's a little bit of a shit stir. Like, she likes to talk shit about people. So I think if she let that come out on air more, I think she could be okay. The problem is you're just not allowed to do that at Entercom.
Well, I don't know how they both kept their job. What made Kirk so famous in the first place? It's like, you know,
I think I honestly might be the only person in that fucking building that learned from Kirk and said, I mean, obviously it was on a much smaller scale, but I kept the only reason I'm on the Kirk Minahan show is because I kept talking about Kirk Minahan. Even when they told me not, like, there was one subject that they told me not to talk about, so I kept talking about it because I thought it was the most interesting. I said there must be a reason they're telling me not to talk about it. It must be interesting to people. People want to hear about it, so I kept doing it. It's amazing to me that more people, like, I know. I mean, there's guys. I'll say his name. Fine, no, it doesn't matter. Like Gilroy, I know is a fan of the show. Patrick Gilroy is like the overnight guy. I know he likes the Kirk Minahan show, and maybe I think Gilroy's honestly a guy that just wants to talk about sports. Like, I think he almost just does this as a hobby because he has a regular job and he just loves radio. So maybe he just wants to talk about sports. But it's like there's times where why doesn't Gilroy just go on and start talking shit? Or and especially the 98.5 guys, I'll never understand this. Where I know, like, Zolak and Jim Murray like Kirk. I think Fred Kutcher does to an extent. Maz does to an extent. Why not just fucking mention them once in a while? People will like it.
I think it's because, it's because they're gonna know if they're safe. Like, if they're safe, they do Sporto Talk and they make it like, you know, right down the line. They're always gonna have a job. Someone's always gonna be wanting to hire them. If they try to go up the reservation a little bit, maybe they do get some following and traction, but it might end up costing them their job. And I think that's what a lot of those guys settle for.
I'd so much
Big
rather.
Jim has, Big Jim's given us a nod once or twice. I mean, I know on one of my prank phone calls, I said we should draft kicker Robert Abishola. And Felger knew right away it was a fake name. And Big Jim was like, oh, no, I heart Abishola from Florida State. And Felger was like, oh, really? It's a real guy. And Big Jim's like, oh, no, I'm just kidding, whatever. But, you know,
Big Jim's a great
kind of telling us, hey, I hear you guys. Like, what's up?
What we should do is try and but first of all, guys, throw in, if you have any questions while we wrap up with the first half of the show, throw them in.
I have to leave.
Justin will ask in a minute. But Big Jim's a guy, I think he's fucking hilarious. I think he could do, and maybe he's another guy. Maybe he just wants to talk sports, but I think he's a guy that could do